9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Well That Effing Figures. I'm Joe. I'm here with Colin. We have a great guest lined up today. But before we bring him in, Colin, how was your week, brother?
Slow.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much. I just have not been in the mood to get back out and toy hunt. Like, I don't know what it is. And have you noticed all the new people on Instagram and YouTube? Like, I don't know if I just got thrown into a new category or what, but I feel like everybody in my feed is brand new. Never seen them before. Like,
I did
cool. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like upset about it, but I didn't know if anybody else noticed that.
I do have a few new ones that popped up. Yeah. So, I mean, it's cool. Let's see what happened with that. And
it's growing.
Yeah, it's a week too. I didn't really do much all week. I went out yesterday, so my video will be up tomorrow, but I didn't do any Targets or Walmarts. I just did a couple antique stores, so that'll be something different. And these antique stores had a lot of like vintage toys and Star Wars and everything.
Oh yeah, I found good stuff at antiques shop.
Yeah, I think it's something a little bit different that people will enjoy. So if they check it out.
Oh, I tried winning the lottery. I did that this week.
I tried it multiple times, and I'm about $12 in the hole now.
Yeah.
But we did win $5 on the group at work yesterday. But
ooh,
yeah, somebody in Maine won, I think, or something. But yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna bring our guest in now. So people in the chat, I know I saw Mega Demon there, Dave's Dimensions. Let's bring him in. Nerdzoic, Matt.
Waste any time here.
Yeah, let's not.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Morning.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Wonderful.
As soon as I wake up.
Yeah, amen to that. It's this might be the earliest I've ever been live on something.
Oh well, thanks. Thanks for joining.
And it's not even early. That's the sad part.
Yeah. It's just
it's hard to pick a time because you got, people on the West Coast, you got people on the East Coast, and you don't want to go too late, but you don't want to go too early. So it's like,
we try to, like, if somebody doesn't want to come on here at 9 a.m. or whatever, we'll do whatever we can to work it out. It doesn't even have to be a Sunday. So we appreciate you coming on, man. I know you're quite busy and with your website and everything, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, it's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you don't want to end up on that list like Dorkside or
Listen, I've been ranting about them. They're pissing me off.
Yeah, I saw your latest video where you were another one went under.
Yeah, and it is a very, very hard business. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I get 3 emails a day from people saying, hey, I want to do what you do. Where do I start? And I have to tell them, don't. Because it is an incredibly difficult business. And if you don't have a background in either like toys or, well, not even just toys. Toys isn't nearly enough. But you got to have a background in logistics, business. You got to really have a good feel for social media. You got to have a crap ton of money. If you don't have a lot of those things, like I had everything but the crap ton of money going in. Like I had the social media following, I had the tons of business background, the leadership, but I didn't have the money, but that was enough. I see people trying to jump into this. They're like, yeah, I got $500. And I'm like, dude, that's nothing.
Like, you really know. Yeah.
No.
One hot toy.
Yeah. How much do you think a normal person would need to get something like that started? Just for
if they were going to try to go the route I went, where you're carrying every line, probably safely, conservatively, $150K.
Okay.
Yeah, at least. Like that's if you're just carrying Hasbro. If you're going to start carrying more expensive stuff like Mafex and Mezcos, then you're looking like you're getting close to $500,000 at some point. Okay. Just because you want to be able to. What ended up happening to all these stores is over the summer, it was the summer of hell for Hasbro. They literally brought everything out at once.
Mhm.
And, nobody expected that. And everybody carries different cash levels. It depends on your risk tolerance. For me, my risk tolerance is very low. So I was able to withstand that relatively easily. But they were hitting us like they were hitting me with $30,000-$40,000 a week in new product for like a 6-week period. So I
Mhm.
can only imagine for like a dork side, that's probably like $1 million a week in cash I needed to come up with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
do
didn't realize that. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
do they send you like whatever they want to send you, or
No. So there's a lot of blind ordering where which honestly that's gotten a little bit better. Depends on the company too. Like Hasbro's really cut back on the blind ordering because of how pissed off some of us got over certain figures, like the publishing Black Chrysanthemum, where we're like, they just told us it's a Black Chrysanthemum, you're gonna want a ton of these, and then it comes out and we see a picture, we're like, what the hell is this? No one wants this. But there's still some, like McFarlane's the worst at it. That's one of the reasons I actually stopped carrying them, because you never know what you're gonna get with them.
yeah.
And they have so much. You're like,
Yeah. And it's like, hey, this is Batman. I'm like, oh, great. Well, that really narrows it down for that line.
Yeah.
Right.
And that
You have a whole
1,000
store of
different
just Batman.
Yeah. And honestly, like if I could tell Hasbro, like, hey, every time there's a Marvel Legends mainline release, I could just tell them, like, just start me with 15 assorted cases and we'll go from there. Because
Mhm.
that's generally a good baseline for like a standard Build-A-Figure wave. You get to like some waves, you're going to say like literally double, triple that if it's like Spider-Man related. But then you get like an Eternals wave and it's like, yeah, I'll take 3 cases just to cover my completionist, and that is it.
That is funny. You brought up Eternals.
Oh,
That's an ongoing thing in our little group.
oh.
We
Nice.
still have a ton of them sitting in the clearance aisle for $15 at our Walmart. $15 for a. You're never going to get rid of these things. I mean, it's almost like Lando, but Lando never goes on sale.
At liquidation, they can't sell them for $4.50 wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how the clearance work. Like Lando still sitting full price. I mean, it's been a year.
Yeah.
A year
Well,
sitting on the shelf.
You have the latest Elite wrestling figures that just came out. They're on clearance today on Target for $11.99 or whatever.
It's that they really have no idea what they're doing in terms of the toys. They're like, oh, look, new toys. Oh, look, Elites. They've been here too long. We should, like, I don't really know how that works on them. Like on Hasbro, I can tell you they basically split up the line so that it's like, okay, so you know how sometimes you'll see like Iron Man, Marvel Legends, Spider-Man, they'll name each series so that it has a prefix. So what that does for retailers is they say, wow, there's another wave of Avengers Marvel Legends coming out. We got to clearance the old wave. I don't know how that works with like a Mattel, but that's why one of the reasons Hasbro does it like that. So for example, with Avengers, we have the Puff Adder Build-A-Figure wave coming out. That's an Avengers labeled wave. If they have anything from I think the Controller wave was the last Avengers wave. They're going to be really pushing that stuff out to make sure it's gone before the next one comes in. But I think there's also a level in Target and Walmart of they just don't really know what they don't know. And they're just like, okay, this doesn't look like it's moving. I guess we should clear it out. Or they just see, hey, look, high inventory levels. And it's just an automated thing.
Right.
And sometimes it's just across the country. It's one of the weird things about toys is what is a peg warmer in Nebraska is impossible to find in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they send like certain, like it's like they, like they'll send the Marvel Legends there, but not here, and then like it'll switch. Like, well, I don't know if that's a way to get people in stores and keep people going to stores. It's probably all.
No, you're overestimating their competence.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's a Darby Allin Target exclusive that has never hit our stores here yet. I've never seen it.
Which one?
The Darby Allin exclusive.
Okay.
But it's on clearance everywhere else. I don't get it.
So the three of us are East Coast guys, so that's a big part of it. Almost all of these toy companies come in through Long Beach in California. So what ends up happening is as they distribute the cases, less and less and less and less as they get across the country. So by the time they get to us, there ain't that much left.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Bobby Valla, who used to work for Hasbro, talked a lot about this. I learned a lot from him on that one. But that's one of the reasons that happens on our side of the country.
Mm.
Another one is, and this is kind of where I have a little bit more expertise, is this distribution networks of the actual companies are clueless. It's not that they're clueless. It's that the world of logistics is like, we think that they're geniuses, but they're not. They rely on the computers, and like the employees, it's, hey, were you here yesterday? Oh, you just started today? Okay, you're the boss now. Like, that's generally how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my last job that I worked before I was self-employed was doing third-party logistics for Saks Fifth Avenue, actually. And like, we literally changed out the employees every week because we couldn't even keep track of who worked there. They were all temps, and most of them didn't speak English. I had to train them by having my voice translated on PowerPoint onto a screen. It was nuts. So my point being, that's who's kind of distributing this. So if you have a pallet of Marvel Legends in a Target hub, and they're like, okay, we need to distribute these, they're just going to start saying, okay, you go to store A, you go to store B, you go to store C. Well, on that pallet is the newest wave of Avengers, but also the solid cases of each figure. So what ends up happening is the solid cases end up all going to the same store. So like, for example, the Age of Apocalypse wave, that was the first time they tried doing the solid cases with the assorted cases. And what ended up happening is, hey, if you want Rogue, go to any Target in Harrisburg. But if you want Cyclops, you're going to have to drive to New Jersey, and he's at every Target.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. We definitely get that a lot, like, especially because we, like, he lives in Wisconsin. I live in Maryland, and they have some different things than we have. And sometimes he'll pick me up something, and vice versa. I'll look out for something for him, and it works out. I mean, even going to Allentown up, in Pennsylvania last week, there was a lot of things that I don't see down here. And it's just funny how that works out.
I mean, and it's really funny because a lot of it ends up liquidated.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to liquidate out the red box Captain Rexes from a few years ago. Now they're $120, $130 a piece, and nobody ever saw them in stores. But in one part of the country, they were in Five Below.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting how that all happens.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in South Carolina over the summer, I was in JB Toy Trunks area. I thought I was in heaven.
Yeah.
It's so much different.
I think a lot of it comes down to like, oh, wow, look, there must not be collectors in this zip code.
Yeah. And I can see, I mean, there's not many around here, I don't think.
Yeah, it's always interesting because it's like the combination of collectors and resellers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it is definitely an interesting thing. And I think a big part of it is because Toys R Us is gone. We live in a post-Toys R Us world. And what that means is that there isn't an expert in toys. It's general merchandise stores who happen to sell this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that shows.
Toys R Us is definitely missed. Definitely.
That's one of the reasons I went into business, because I saw that hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Smart.
That was a good time to do that. Was smart. Yeah, that was the perfect spot to do something like that.
Yeah, not a day goes by where I don't miss Toys R Us.
I know.
Yeah.
What I try to do is I try to remember the last 4 years of Toys R Us where there was nothing on the shelves and nothing got moved anywhere. That's the only thing that keeps me going. Try not to think about like the early 2000s. That'll just depress you.
Yeah, the Macy's Target. I mean, the Macy's Toys R Us just isn't doing it. I mean, it's just like a shitty little.
That's not a Toys R Us.
That's all it is, really.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
No.
Now there is one in New Jersey.
Yeah.
But from what I have heard, it's a Toys R Us, and it's got a ton of toys, but it's got like a corner of action figures.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's not toys that we want. They're like kid toys,
Not at all.
My mall, Macy's actually bought another store in the mall, and it's just going to be the Toys R Us. So it'll end up being like one of those Toys R Us express stores, basically.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like those,
at least it's going in that direction of its own.
Yeah, they had a market. There's no doubt about it. Like believe me, there's a dream in my head where I can figure out a way for Nerdzoic toys to replace Toys R Us, but the amount of capital it would take is insane. And frankly, Toys R Us, the business model needed tweaking, but it was still viable, and it would still be viable in the future, but it definitely needed some tweaking. So who knows what the future holds with that. I don't think we'll ever see a solo toy store again, just because of the risk tolerance and the way, like, it's just, I don't do toy hunts anymore since I opened the store. But when I do see people out, like, it's so amazing when I have to go to like a Target or a Walmart and I can see the difference in the toy aisles from Q4 to the rest of the year. Like, there's nobody there most of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And Tiger Uppercut brought up Blockbuster too. That's another one I kind of miss. I used to love walking through there when I was younger. That was an awesome go to.
Oh, renting movies on the weekend, it was like a whole thing, you know. Okay, we got to go to the Blockbuster, and you got to walk down all the aisles reading all the movies. Like, people just don't get it anymore.
And then when you could start renting video games, I was like, holy shit, this is it. Like, this is it, man. I don't have to go buy the game. Now I could just rent it, play it, bring it back.
That is when we that's why my parents, I convinced them to switch to Blockbuster. We had like a local video store that was a quarter mile down the street called Video Sites, and I would walk there and rent wrestling VHS tapes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I watched WrestleMania 4 until my like eyes were bleeding.
Yeah, because I was living in a time where, like, I told you how old I was before the show started. I remember going to watch WrestleMania. I think it may have been one. I think it was one on closed circuit television at a theater. They didn't have pay-per-view yet. Like, you would buy a ticket, go into like a theater and watch it on the big screen. And that's how we did it back then. Like,
it's amazing. It really is.
First three like that. And then the
I don't know.
boxes came out, you know, and then we started getting them all for free. Hey, if you're watching, it's too late. I think the statute of limitations, whatever. But
my neighbor had one. I would always be like, "Hey, what you doing tonight?"
Yeah. I'd have all my friends over. My mom was a big, she loved wrestling also, so we'd have the whole neighborhood over watching it, and we had a great time.
So we were on the poorer side. So my Sunday nights during pay-per-views was turning it on and listening to it, and then trying to catch like little pieces through the scrambling. I didn't care.
Oh yeah, I used to do that too.
Well, yeah, and like, I was on the poor side too, hence why we had to get the scrambler. And also, like, you know, the other channels too. You watch the little squigglies, and you might get a little, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Too. Yeah, hey. So
pre-internet was a different world.
Yeah, definitely. You had to take what you can get out of the little squiggly lines. But good times. I wouldn't change it for the world, though, man. It was such an awesome time to like grow up.
Yeah, sometimes that actually depresses me. Like, I hate going to malls now because it's so depressing. It's like, man, it makes me think of the beginning of the movie Casino, where they're just like, yeah, we screwed it all up. And I'm like, well, that's malls in a nutshell.
Yeah, they're terrible. It's hard to walk through anymore.
My really daughter goes to her dance class is in the middle of this mall. So I had to take her yesterday at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. There's literally left in this mall is one local department store, a GNC, this dance studio, and a comic store, which I'm convinced must be a drug front, because I've never seen anybody in there, and everything is like $40 over MSRP.
Right. Hey, Tiger Uppercut has a question. What are all of our holy grails of toys?
For me, I honestly don't have one, because I like everything nostalgic, and if something pops up, and I automatically know that it's something I gotta have. So for me, it's like, I don't have one specific thing. Things hit me as I go out and hunt or look around or whatever. But for me, I don't think I can point out one thing that I want or have a holy grail like one for myself.
So for me, I have a couple of things. One, I really want the first HasLab, the sail barge. I would love to get my hands on one of those. But the one thing that's been a consistent grail for going back 20 years now, I'd say, is there have been numerous life-size replica Yodas. I need a Yoda. There's like a Pepsi one that's based on Empire Strikes Back. Their Sideshow's done a couple now.
Mm-hmm.
I need one. I need that at some point in my life. I want to be able to pay the money to get one of those. And then there's a couple dumb little things that are just expensive now. Like, you ever see those Pepsi R2D2 coolers that they had in like grocery stores?
Oh, my neighbor used to have one. Yeah,
I need one of that.
He had it on his back deck. He didn't really care much about it. He just left it out there all seasons. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Listen, when I have a brick and mortar store, that is where the drinks are coming from.
There you go.
And, I also need one of those Han Solo and Carbonites at some point in my life.
That would be cool. That would be cool to have. Like the life size, like
the $10,000 one.
Yeah, that would be sweet. I would like that. Yeah. How about you, Colin? You got something?
If I were to go out of my own collection, I would say my Hot Toy Predators. But I would like to get the whole original line of Ninja Turtles.
Oh, nice.
Mint on card. That's what I would.
I actually started that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about 40. So my goal was, I forgot about it, to be honest with you. I wanted to get the original 10, the 88 10 with the 10 back, I think it was, or maybe it was an 8 back on the card, all mint on card and all unpunched. So it still would have the little thing.
Yeah.
I have 4 of the 10 so far.
Now thinking like this is not a grail, but I would love all the Hasbro WWF mint on card.
Oh my gosh.
That would be something, because I collect them loose, but to have them all mint on card, I know that's a shitload of money, but that would be something that I would be, that would probably be, if I had to choose a grail, that would probably be something I would love to have.
Yeah. I thought about that when I got back into collecting heavy, like 5 or 6 years ago. I was like, okay, maybe instead of like modern toys, let's go back and look. It would be so cool to get these. I had them all. And then I started looking at prices and I'm like, holy crap, let's forget about that one.
Yeah. Or like, I want to get all the Street Sharks in, in box. If I would have bought them back when I like early collecting, I should have done it. And I was like, no, I'll wait. That was the worst decision I've made, because now these guys want like $700 for one. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I just started, Cowboys and Moo Mesa. I'm doing the vintage line of those, and they're not horrible, but there's some pricey ones out there.
I have never heard of that.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's similar to TMNT.
It looks familiar.
Yeah, it was only a cartoon for like 2 years.
Huh.
I remember hearing about that show. I never watched it, but I didn't know they had figures until you brought them up. To be honest with you, but they seem. I mean, that's the beauty of this. Like, we don't know anything about it, but you do, and you want it. And hey, man, that's the beauty of doing this. Like, everybody has their own thing for the most part.
Yeah, I think everyone has that one like kind of super niche thing from their childhood. Like for me, it's Hasbro did that show Cops, and they had all the toys, Cops and Crooks with Big Boss. Like, I'm just sitting here waiting for them to use that license. Like, come on, guys, you still own it.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it's like the LJN figures, WWF, and the Hasbros. For me, like, I just love those things. Whenever I see them locally, and I did pick up a couple that my video is coming out tomorrow from an antique store. I don't see them in person often, but when I do, and they're ones that I don't have, I try to snatch them up if they're a good price, and they were. So.
Yeah, I bought a French card Big Boss Man. I'm like, all right, that's going to represent the Hasbros for my collection.
I had two carded ones. One was a Kamala that I ended up getting rid of, because I was either going to get rid of it or crack it open. And it was all like, it had a shell casing around it and everything. So I got rid of that on eBay just because I wanted one open. I haven't got one open yet, but I will. And then I had a Giant Gonzalez carded. But it was kind of bent up, so I cracked it open and put it on my display. So I didn't really care one way or the other. But other than that, everything I bought from them was predominantly loose. So, but I'm happy with that. That's what I want. I don't want them carded. But if I had the money and I came across a collection of them, total, like complete, that would be it for me, probably.
Yeah.
I know we touched on this. I don't know if it was backstage or early in the show, but JB said any thoughts of a brick and mortar store. So I know we touched on it, but I wasn't sure if we did it on here or backstage.
I don't remember. I think I might have. Yeah, it all mixes together.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's thoughts. If it's not an if, it's a when.
Mhm.
We have outgrown our basement by far from a sales and volume standpoint, but it's just so convenient.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Going to work, go downstairs.
Yeah. And initially, up until literally like 2 or 3 days ago, the plan had been I can still do a full-time job and do this
Mhm.
if my wife does all this full-time. So I was going to go back to work. But the way our sales have been booming since the end of Dorkside, I don't really need to necessarily. It's more of a I really want some of that good health insurance type of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm kind of leaning towards not at the moment unless something good comes up. But yeah, I want to do it. Like in my ideal world, I want to buy a property. I don't want to go into like a strip mall where I'm paying someone's exorbitant rent, because no matter how bad the economy gets, they will continue to charge exorbitant rents, because if they don't fill it, they can just use it as a write-off.
Mhm.
So I don't want to play that game with landlords and leases. I want to buy something that's zoned commercially. So
Right.
I actually looked at a house down the street from me it was on the main road and zoned commercially, and it was like dirt cheap, $75,000 cheap, but it was the only thing that I couldn't do with it, there was no parking. Like on street,
yeah.
off street, there was room for one car. So I'm like, well, that doesn't work. I can't, like, I got to be able to get deliveries and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to pass on that. But like, if I find something like that, I'd probably buy it like now if it was the right deal
Mhm.
with where the market is.
Yeah.
Like, there's some things I regret on passing on years ago. Like, I really wish I could go back like 7 or 8 years. They had all of these churches for sale up here for like the price of a house. Like, what I could do with a church building. Like, I could turn part of it into a warehouse. I could turn part of it into a store. Each office becomes a different YouTube studio. It would be perfect. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we own this, so we just got to pay it off, and then we're done with it.
I always said it would be cool to turn one of those old churches into a house. I would love it. You got you got the balcony, you got the vaulted ceilings. It'd be beautiful.
Well, you know, I've seen people buy really weird places and turn them into houses lately. Like, this one guy bought an old school and turned it into a house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, that would be awesome. Like, you could have like, this is the Star Wars room in this classroom. This classroom is just to sit in and look at a wall. Like, there's just so much stuff you could do.
Yeah,
you really could. Yeah, it'd be cool.
There's actually a brewery down in Baltimore that they turned in a church into a brewery, and I haven't been there yet, but it's pretty cool. And the name is slipping me right now, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, they changed a whole church into the brewery. I'm gonna check that out eventually. But
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I want to do. Like, I don't want to just jump into a mall.
Mm-hmm.
Or jump into something like that. I see a lot, like, that's what Dorkside did. They got a brick and mortar store, but it wasn't part of their warehouse. So that now they have two different things that they're paying for and not making money on. So I want to do everything out of one place.
Mm-hmm. And like you touched on earlier, but, you know, people don't think of is, I mean, your medical insurance. Like, since you are working and you have your own company, you don't get the luxury of having that little bit cheaper, you know, coming out of your paycheck and all that from a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, it's brutal. And honestly, it's like, okay, when I decided my salary for the year, which is always so weird, it's like, I got to make my salary. I didn't factor in like, oh yeah, you better factor in like $1,000 a month for health insurance.
Right.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not even cheap when you got a 9-to-5, but it's a lot cheaper than what you have when you are unemployed or own your own business or what have you.
Yeah, I've been spoiled. The last couple of jobs I had pretty good health insurance.
Yeah, we do
and
too.
I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, we complain every year about it going up just a little bit, but I mean, in the grand scheme, it's really good. And,
I mean, I even looked into like, maybe I'll be a school bus driver for 20 hours a week just to get the good health insurance, but they don't give it for 20 hours. And I'm like, well, I'm out. You think I want to drive a school bus for no reason?
And all the screaming kids, Jesus, I don't think
Oh, I
it's
can block that out.
I don't know. It's more than screaming now. I mean, them kids are wild anymore, man. It's like
You just bring like a spray bottle of water like they're a dog. Like, no, down.
Man.
Tiger Uppercut. Anybody remember Battle Beast toys? I do not remember those.
Either. No.
I just
never
looked
heard of
them
it.
up. I cannot remember them.
No.
They look cool.
I have to check them out, but never heard of that.
No, that's another one. There you go.
Yeah, you might have another grill. You see,
there's so much. No, I got enough on my plate. Geez, just the NECA Ninja Turtles and the Super 7 Turtles and the Playmates Turtles, like that's enough right there. I mean,
I'm surprised anybody's still doing Super 7 anything at this point.
Yeah, I'm picky with those. I'm not really full in on that line.
Mm-hmm.
Just ones here and there that I like. I'm full in on NECA.
I do like NECA. I was thinking about doing some Super 7 this year, but I'm not really vested in anything particular. I like the Thundercat ones. They seem pretty nice.
He-Man did as well.
What's that?
The He-Man Super 7 looked good as well. I just don't get the love of the Turtle ones because I'm like, okay, look, for $55, you can get a toy that looks just like the toy you had. But for $30, you can get one that's like updated and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's NECA versus Super 7.
Yeah.
The NECA hands down best.
That's my favorite toy line to collect right now is the NECA cartoon turtles.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, I'm so pumped for that turtle van to come out.
I know. Hey, what happened with the playset?
They talked about it. They never announced it. I actually have a video coming out this week. It's like my wish list of things for 2023. That I think is like number 2. I want a sewer playset.
Because they told us
what part of the problem is they only have the license to make figures based on the cartoon. They can't make figures based on the toy line. Super 7 has that license. So Super 7 can make the sewer. They can make it look just like the Playmate sewer. But NECA would have to make a completely new design based off of the cartoon. And
they showed those pictures of the 3 separate pieces, and they were saying that we were going to have the first one was going to go up for pre-order in fall. Never happened.
Oh man, I didn't even see all that. I would love that.
Yeah,
that's like, yeah, that will be my thing this year. That will be my big expense because the way HasLab's been going, they've been saving me a ton of money.
Yeah, if you check out San Diego, anybody's footage from San Diego this last year, it was like a 3-piece. They had like Donnie's lab, they had like the kitchen, and then the living room. It was, and it's big.
I'm Googling it now. I see it. That's very interesting. I don't know how I missed all this.
We were supposed to get the first one. They said the first one was going to go up for pre-order in like September, like fall. Never happened. Never even heard of it since then.
Well, NECA's only done one diorama, that street scene diorama.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you from personal experience, that thing sells like hotcakes.
Oh yeah, everybody wants those. I don't know.
I've sold 70 or 80 of them, and I have more on back order because I really want more. But like, they were such a double-edged sword for me with the store because I really wanted to carry a lot of them, but they take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
I was reading Dork Layer. He ordered a Alf.
Oh yeah.
From you, NECA. Is that a pre-order? I looked it up. It looks pretty cool.
He is technically a pre-order, so I didn't know what to expect with Alf, so I only ordered like 2 dozen of them. And I went out online last week and I said, hey, for anybody who wants this, I would recommend pre-ordering it because I got to figure out if I need more. And sure enough, I needed more. So I'll have more in, I guess, tomorrow or Tuesday.
Yeah, I may be hitting you up for one of them because that looks pretty cool. And I grew up on that show. I used to love that show, man.
Oh,
my mom used to have the little plush.
Actually, hold on. Let me grab them. I have one in here still.
Yeah, that elf figure does look good.
Yeah, it looks cool, man. And
I just don't know if it's something I want for my collection.
See, for me, it's just like something nostalgic for me. That's why I like it. And
now, when the dinosaurs come out, I'm going to be getting those.
And my mom had the plush Alf that came out when the show was popular back in the day. I wish I still had that one, actually. That's probably worth a shitload of money right now. But I would just keep it anyway because my mom had it. But Yeah, this thing looks pretty cool. It comes with a shitload of accessories, like a Hawaiian shirt, a little kitty cat on a bun, like because he's always
This
wanted to
guy's
eat the
still
cat.
here only because he's got a little bit of box damage. But I give
Oh
you
yeah,
Alf in all
nice.
his greatness.
I
Yeah,
can't wait for the
cool.
dinosaur line.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
I did
excited
not
for
even
that.
know that Alf existed, to be honest. Like that's
Oh,
pretty
so he comes with a cat and a sandwich,
cool. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
and his little microphone and his Hawaiian shirt.
He's fantastic. So
Yeah.
he's gonna. I don't know what to expect. It's always interesting because with NECA's becoming one of my biggest lines for me. It is the biggest, right behind Hasbro, and I just can't predict what's going to sell unless it's turtles. I always know turtles will sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that new gargoyle, the Steel Clan one. So far, that's on pace to be my best-selling gargoyle. Wouldn't have
Really?
expected that.
See, I'm waiting for Brooklyn and
March.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Brooklyn and
Broadway.
Yeah, Broadway. Yeah.
Yeah. I think right now at this point, I think Hudson's the best one, but they're pretty awesome.
I didn't watch that show growing up, so I don't know really what the hell they are, but he's been showing me. That looks pretty good.
This thing is these wings are just, I don't know. I love them.
So, all seriousness, go on Disney Plus and watch the first season. It is shockingly good. Like, it holds up really well, and it's not like cheesy, cartoony. There's a lot of more, I don't want to say grown-up themes, but more mature themes to it. And it's just really well done. It's like I think when we go back and watch our 80s shows now, if we're objective, we're like, wow, this was not as good as I remember. But that one was pretty darn good. I just watched it last year.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because that does happen a lot where I go back now. I'm like, yeah, you got to watch this show. It's fucking awesome. And then all of a sudden you go back and watch it and you're like, that's so good.
Yep.
But that's kind of weird how that happens. So Rolando in the chat says he worries about NECA quality, so he doesn't buy. And I do know what he's talking about. I've had a few pieces that, and it may just be my bull in the china shop type, how I am, but I snap off pieces. Like I've lost more like pieces, and they don't really have good customer service. It's hard to get like a replacement. So I know where he's coming from with that. Have you had a lot of issues with that yourself?
Not as many as I expected. I expected it to be a lot worse. There's been two particular figures that have been really rough. So the last Predator that came out, the oversized Predator, I had like 3 of them where people took them out of the box and the leg was disattached and broken. And then most recently was the D&D Grim Sword.
Okay.
But I usually just eat it. I'm like, all right, I'll send you a new one because I'm going to take care of people. I'm not going to leave them screwed. But with that one, I actually contacted NECA and they did like a whole investigation for me, which I had not had great experience with NECA customer service before that. But I contacted them with pictures and said, hey guys, I just want to make sure that this isn't like a major manufacturing flaw. And they took a week and investigated, and they got back to me and said, hey, it doesn't look like, we're pretty sure that your case just sucks. So we're sending you a new case.
Okay.
So I was like shocked because I just assumed I was going to eat the cost. And that's just like the price of doing business. Sometimes it happens. I actually was thinking about getting one of those plastic welding kits to see if I could, because usually what I've been doing is I just tell people, just hold on to it. I can't resell it anyway, so I don't want to pay return shipping. I thought about trying to get them returned and then selling them as like damaged goods to see what happens. So I might do that in the future, but I don't know how much time I want to dedicate to plastic welding joints back together.
Yeah, the one that's I had the most trouble with was the Splinter Van Helsing.
Okay.
When I popped him out of the shell, his little chin hair snapped off.
Oh, really?
and his leg kind of popped off, and I was having all kinds of trouble with that. So when I watch people's video of them buying it, I'm thinking to myself, don't do it. But maybe they'll have better luck than I did. But yeah. So yeah, he doesn't look quite right without the little goatee or anything, but it is what it is right now.
Actually, I did have an issue with one of those too. I had a guy where his tail broke off.
he's hard to stand. So you got to kind of bend that tail to get him to stand right. And he still kind of leans forward. So you really got to bring that tail up. And I was scared I was going to snap that too. I thought I was going to have like 10 pieces when I was done.
That's another one that I just didn't like. I didn't think that was a great, like, I really like that line, but then I saw that one and I'm like, no one's going to want this one. And he sold like crazy for me. I'm just,
I love that line. I wanted to finish off the complete, the line of those, but that one's really just not good.
I was upset about that one because they took the same, it's just the live action Splinter, and then they put like a coat on them.
Yeah.
See, like all the other ones are all brand new sculpts and they're all original looking, and then they took Splinter and they just throw a fucking coat on the live action 90s Splinter.
And then they looked in the mirror and said, look, Hasbro, we can do this too.
Right. Yeah. But at least they give you accessories.
Yeah. Yeah. That one, the only one that didn't sell for those was April. She was a complete bust.
Yeah.
I have that one too. I actually like that one better than the Splinter just because she hasn't snapped and she stands there nicely.
Yeah. The only thing I'm kind of confused about is it's interesting that we did not get a Universal Monsters Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why.
My only guess. So we got the Dracula, the main Dracula last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at the back of the box and it actually says that Bela Lugosi, I believe is his name, the actor who played Dracula, his estate signed off and worked with NECA on the sculpting of the face. So I'm wondering if they didn't sign off on that. That's my only guess. It's conjecture, but you know.
Yeah, I have the 6 scale of the Bela Lugosi. It comes with the casket.
Is that the Jada Toys?
It's the no, it's not Jada. I don't believe. I forget the name of it. I have a video on it. I forget the name of it though. I didn't even know it existed. I went to a horror con and there it was, and it has a big, heavy, like it really nice resin or wood type casket with it.
Wow.
It's really nice. I'll send you some pictures of it.
All right, cool. Yeah, they have their own. NECA has their casket coming out sometime this year. Curious to see how that looks.
Yeah,
I made a mummy tomb that looked really cool.
Yeah, I want the mummy accessory kit. I need that. I need the Frankenstein accessory kit, and I want to get that Bela Lugosi NECA also.
I love that they're doing these accessory packs. Like they just did that Gremlins one. I mean, the Ninja. They do the live action Ninja Turtle ones. I mean, I just keep sending them out. Let me get more. I want more and more accessories.
Yeah, they're really cool the way they do that. Like they could honestly just do a generic accessory kit, and it would probably sell like hotcakes.
Oh my god, yeah, I guarantee it.
The main reason why I bought that Bela Lugosi is because of the casket, and it was just cool. Like, I mean, I'd never seen it, and it was 6 scale hot toy like quality. So it's a good piece. I'll definitely send you a picture after.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who makes that.
Yeah, I got the box too. I have to check that out. I'm old, man. I can't think of all this anymore. It's on the video though. But,
there's so many like, you know, small action figure companies now that are making this, you know, you go on Instagram and you find people doing pre-orders for stuff and it's like, holy shit. Like
it's hard to keep up. Like it's hard for me even like, oh, look, where the hell did this come from?
Right.
That's why I try to stick with like with all these things that are coming out, I try to stick with lines or toy brands that are focused on major franchises and not go into too much like brand new stuff. Like Mythic Legions, obviously I do. Those are fantastic, but like I don't want to get into it's like a double-edged sword. On one end, I want to support new creators, but on another end, it's like, these are risky for me.
Do you sell the Mythic Legions on your site as well?
Yeah. I can't keep them in stock very long because I don't do the big bad price gouge where you jump up the price a little bit because you see people want it. I usually just like 4 Horsemen give you a lowest price you can sell it at, so I just sell it at that. But most of the small stores do, and we all sell out very quickly.
So you collect those. I see some wrestling in the background there. What else? What else do you like?
It's interesting. My collecting habits have changed so much since the store because of space. The big thing I used to collect, like my number one thing used to be Min in Box Black Series, but I stopped, one, because of the store, and now I have zero desire to continue that collection because of the packaging. So
Oh yeah.
it just doesn't matter to me. But when NECA got the Turtles license and started producing movie and cartoon stuff, I went all in on that. They're behind me. And then the wrestling stuff's one of my favorite things to collect. I don't carry it in the store because I just can't move it, and Mattel's not great to work with. But I love those. I love their figures. I think they do a fantastic job. I think for the most part, the value's there. So I love them. I tried doing AEW for a bit, but I bought the first version of the first wave with like the pale skin, and it just turned me off so much. I stopped collecting those completely.
Yeah, I don't buy many of those either, unless it's an exclusive to a store or like a gold sticker.
Okay. I do need to get myself an Orange Cassidy where he puts his fingers in his pants.
Yeah.
I need that. Yeah. And then I still do a lot of Marvel Legends, obviously. With Mythic Legions, I'm very specific. I just literally am buying the 4 Horsemen characters and their horses. So I'm just getting those. And then they do that Figura Obscura line with Krampus and Santa and the Headless Horseman. I'm all in on those too.
Oh yeah, those are cool. I almost bought those.
I didn't buy the Headless Horseman because I'm an idiot. Like during the morning drop, I was at a baseball practice for my kid. And then the night drop, I completely forgot to set an alarm to do. And yeah, I regret that one. I need to buy that off of somebody at some point. But I bought 2 Santas just to make up for it.
So let me ask you this. So we're starting to see the Black Series come in with the windowless slowly. I mean, I only see a few like the Ned.
I haven't seen that yet.
I've seen the Ned, and he's in the enclosed box. What are they going to do with the archives? Are they going to do the same thing? Is it going to be a little bit different? Or
no clue yet. They haven't announced it.
Yeah,
I would imagine it's going to be the exact same thing.
That would be terrible. They have their own look too.
Yeah, it's cheaper. That's the whole point of this. I hate it. It makes me angry. But what are you going to do? Like I got Ned coming in, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. He's the first Black Series I'll see in the new packaging. The last, what was it? One? I guess I've only gotten 1 or 2 waves of the Marvel Legends in the new packaging. People don't like it. I mean, Marvel Legends hasn't been that bad because I think most people who collect that line because of the Build-A-Figures are loose collectors. But it's really hurt Star Wars sales.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. I mean, we beat a dead horse with this a million times here on the show and talking with each other, but it doesn't make sense to me to take the plastic away on a thing. You're buying a plastic figure anyway.
So before I was extra aggressive with Hasbro and they were talking to me more, their comeback to that was, well, the toys don't end up in a landfill, the plastic does.
I mean, they can. There's some destructive kids out there who are going to tear them toys up and the parents are going to throw them away.
Of course. I mean, plus, the toy is what, 500 times more plastic than the cover?
I mean, they've never changed milk containers yet. I mean, they're all plastic. They end up in the landfill. I mean,
I just don't get it. Like, I thought
I don't get it either.
Well, I mean, I do get it. It's cheaper to go without it. It's cheaper. And I would imagine they're getting some tax credits because of it.
Well, then, did you? I ordered those the selfie figures for me and my son, and they should do the packaging like those. Then they have a slip cover, and then there's a window, but there's no plastic on the window.
So I interviewed the Hasbro Legends team, and I asked them about that, and they tested that with Transformers and they said the amount of theft and damages it made it not worth it. Which to me, I'm like, have you seen the pictures of the non-plastic packaging? Like, it can't be that much worse.
Yeah. I mean, those are laying open on the shelves. I mean, if people are going to steal it, they're going to steal it. I mean, there's no.
You don't know.
People are animals. When you get home here.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get, and when you get home, try to explain that, and you come back to the store and try to explain that, they look at you like you've done it.
Yeah.
So, It's kind
Yeah,
of
it sucks. It
that's
really does. Like I really thought they were going to go the slipcover route, and I wasn't that. Like I'd be fine with that if you just had them like, you know, really connected in there, really strong. I feel like that's a good way to go.
Right.
You know, I even thought like, you know, this is a lot more of a process, but if you stamped somewhere on that plastic, not in ink, but like an imprint stamp, points, and actually have redemptions for it, have people send back the plastic things for redemption, people would do it because we're toy collectors. We got to get them all. We're crazy. Like people would absolutely recycle those.
Especially if you're getting something back for it.
Yeah, if you're getting something that's exclusive back and you can't get anywhere else, that would increase your sales.
Yeah.
Because people would be buying this crap just because, like, well, I can't get this rocket firing Boba Fett anywhere else, so I guess I have to.
Yeah, that idea is really cool.
What
Yeah.
sucks is now you got Mattel following suit.
Are they?
Yeah, I just heard they're going windowless packaging too with their. Yeah, so
I don't know. I guess I'm just old school where I love walking in the store and being able to look at that figure and, you know, fall in love with it and bring it home. You know,
as a collector, up until 2018, I was 100% mint and box, because setting up my collection to look like a toy store is what really brought me that joy. Now, once I started getting into Legends and the Turtles and I had to open that stuff, then I was like, oh, I like opening now. But all of my old Star Wars stuff, my Black Series, my Power of the Force 2, all the different movie lines, I'll never open that. I love it in the package. And the toys aren't great anyway. If I wanted a good Episode 2 Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm buying the vintage collection. But yeah, it stinks. It really does. And I had a lot of customers who would buy 2 of every figure, one to open, one to keep in package. Now that's dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends for me. Like I'm kind of similar with you until the cartoon turtle line came out. I was all inbox, but now it's like it depends on where it is. Like those retro carded Spider-Man figures from Hasbro, I keep those in package.
Yeah, a lot of people buy those by the 2 for the same reason. And it's ironic. Like the amount of plastic that's on those retro figures, like in the packaging, like try opening one of them. You need a switchblade or you're not.
Oh, yeah. It really, there's things that I do. I'll buy 2 of, or it really depends what it is. But I don't know, something about that turtle line just made me start opening stuff up.
Yeah, I mean,
the accessories. I'm seeing like you know what it was? It was that Michelangelo with the nunchucks that looked like they were spinning attachment. I'm like, well, I have to open this.
Oh, and I've said it so many times, but when another thing NECA does is they'll throw accessories in Michelangelo's box for Metalhead's box, or for Metalhead.
I never noticed.
They'll give you a new Metalhead fucking head in a. It's cool. I love the way.
I don't even know what the hell the accessories are with NECA. Like they get so deep in there. Like when I got my Krang, I'm like, this little shredder looks familiar, but I don't know why. Why does he come with a blanket? Like he came with that blue towel from one scene in one episode.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about this Alf is everything that comes with that. I remember him in the show with that stuff.
Did he drink Pepsi in the show? Because it says Usco now.
I don't know if they blurred it out. I don't know how they worked that out back then. It wasn't so sensitive back then. I don't think as everything.
Yeah.
Or did he do Pepsi commercials?
I think he had something involved with Pepsi, but I know
he also comes with his goofy Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, and the popcorn. He always eat popcorn on the show, and
he's a cool looking figure.
I can't wait for that dinosaur line.
That really is going to be. I think that's going to be like Gargoyles on crack, because I think everyone likes that franchise more.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
I know, like up until about 6 months ago, I was predominantly mint on card. I would keep everything in package. And then one day I was like, I don't want a whole bunch of boxes laying around. I want to display the actual figures and pose them up.
Well, with these
out of that,
all these new figure, that elf and stuff, once you get it out and you get them posed and stuff, it just brings them to life. It just doesn't do them justice keeping them in a package. And they come in these they come in boxes now anyways. If you want to, you can put it back in there and seal it back up.
That's the beauty of it. It really is. I used to
Especially
save
with hot
every
toys.
box.
Especially
But
with
then I'm
hot
like, where the
toys.
hell am I going to put all these empty boxes?
Right. Yeah. In the basement, I have all my Hot Toy stuff lined up in my helmets, and they would go back in there no problem.
Yep.
You know, and I think most people who collect those two things, helmets and Hot Toys, realize that you've displayed them, but you're not really destroying them. So you could put them back in there and sell them as relatively new, if you ever do that. You know.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm with you, JB. Bust them out. Let them breathe. I'm tired of having boxes laying around, even though they still are. But
Yeah, Zach Ryder got me into doing it too. I'm sorry, Matt Cardona. He got me into letting them breathe too.
Yeah. I love watching his videos.
Yeah, I was listening to that from, I think, near the beginning. Actually, I had a smart mark on the Nerdies the first year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. He did best something.
I would love to have those guys do something. I know they're restricted, a lot of them, from doing anything outside of AEW or WWE. But do you still watch wrestling at all, or have you given it up?
Yes and no. Like, I started watching a bit more when Vince retired, but now it's like House of Cards going on.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that you guys are paying attention to, but it's a disaster.
Oh yeah, this is I'm scared to look at the news every day because I don't know like what's going on with him and selling it, and then Stephanie quit now.
And you got to think like, oh, does that have anything to do with the Saudis buying it because they don't want a woman executive?
I was worried about
crappy. That. It really is. Like, I like the idea of Vince away, but that's why I've been enjoying it. Like, I really wanted to see what Triple H's long-term creative plans would look like.
Yeah, and I don't even think he'd begin to scratch the surface because I always just think that McMahon was a phone call away saying, you have this much control, but I still, you're not going to do what I don't want you to do. You know, that's why he hasn't really turned over, because I know Triple H is really old school. Yeah. So if he had it his way, we would have seen a very distinct difference from day one. It's been a little bit. We would have
saw basically NXT style booking.
Yeah.
In WWE, and
you would have seen AEW with storylines. Yeah, that's what you would have seen in WWE.
And AEW, I loved it for a hot minute.
Me too.
But there's something about Tony Khan that I hate.
Yeah,
maybe it's the I'm a rich little brat thing. Who talks about like whenever he's like, "Hey, look, he thinks he's Eric Bischoff," and it drives me nuts.
See, I'm with Tiger Uppercut in the chat. I tried getting back into it, but I just can't. It's just. I got out when they switched to WWE. Like
my God, you're a long timer.
Yeah. When WWF went to WWE, that's when I got out.
I lapsed like 2 or 3 times in and out since then.
I've took a break.
I just could never do it.
14, but that's about all. Like 5-year break, but I still peeked in and out, but I didn't watch it religiously. Like
when their punches stop like 2 feet from their face, like I just I can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, the worst part's not even that. The worst part is just the cartoonish shit that they do, like the Christmas specials where they're like hitting each other with Christmas trees and all that. That's all Vince McMahon and Tom Pritchard. That's what they love. They love that goofy shit.
And it's not even just that. It's what other crap do they do? Like it's so cookie cutter. Like every person has their, like everyone's supposed to do the same thing. Walk out on the ramp, stop at the beginning of the ramp, do your pose. Walk down the ramp, come in the ring on the left side up the steps. Like it's just so the same all the time. And then they do things like, I hate the camera jerks whenever there's major hits going on, so they make it look more impactful. They'll jerk the camera with every chair shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting motion sick watching this.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate when they do like things like so a wrestler will lose 3 weeks in a row, and then the week after they're challenging for the belt. And I'm like, what did you do to deserve a title shot?
There's absolutely no thought. And then you got, AEW is going to end up like WCW. In my mind, he's doing the same thing. It's like, oh, you're fired from WWE, you're hired. Yeah. Oh, you like Jim Ross as your commentator in 2023 is not good. The man can barely he doesn't know the move names anymore. He's a grumpy old jerk.
He keeps saying WWE too. Inside
he does that too.
He said that a few times.
Like, I'm shocked they haven't tried to steal Jerry Lawler away from a Legends contract.
Well, lately it's just been the mask guy, whatever his
He's
name
the best
is.
one.
Him and Taz. It's been those two, and Tony Schiavone with his in-ring interviews that never go well.
See, I actually like Schiavone.
I never liked him. Ever.
I like him doing play-by-play if he's got the right color guy. Like when him and Heenan were together,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that with
I did
Sabitsko
like
doing color.
Yeah, back in the NWA, back in the 80s, it was Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross together. I did like them then. Them two
Yeah.
together were good back in the day.
See, I never thought they worked well together. They're
No.
too similar.
Yeah, they are similar, but I think that's the old school way they did things back then. I liked together. Now,
Yeah.
if they were together, it's not the same. It's terrible now. And there's nothing about it in AEW that I like just because there's no storylines and all that. And people argue with me all the time online when I say something. And I'm like, well, give me a storyline. And then they'll give me like, all right, so Bryan Danielson against MJF. I'm like, that's not much of a storyline yet. But if you're enjoying that, more power to you. I don't. You know?
Yeah, I will say, like, I did tune in for the CM Punk stuff when it started, but then that quickly got stale because they didn't have a storyline or any way to use him. Bryan Danielson, same deal. Oh, let's put him in a club with William Regal. That'll work out great.
I mean,
and who else was there that I love MJF. Like, I think that kid's a star.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's going to WWE if things work out with WWE. That's where
if it's there.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have to go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I mean the CM Punk shit, like when he first came back, that he had this whole year of a tour of being a good guy and waving and having the audience, so happy, and he's happy back, and then that's not him. He's not
the correct thing to do was to do that for like 2 months,
maybe,
and then do a Hulk Hogan turn with him.
Yeah, he's a heel. He's not a good guy. You can't do this return party storyline for this long. It's like they wanted to do it in every city where he's giving ice cream bars out and he's celebrating with them. I'm like jumping into the crowd. I'm like, it's over, dude. Like, you're a heel.
The best way to book him, honestly, is they should have done like Bret Hart 97, where Bret was only a face outside of the US and a heel in the US. And they booked him that way, like the way they wrestled the matches. They should have done that with Punk. If he is in or surrounding Chicago, he's a good guy. Anywhere else, he's a bad guy insulting the fans.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And that's how it is with most heels. I mean, like even MJF, when he's in New York, Long Island, that's where he's from.
Yeah.
He says good things. He wears the jersey. He does all that. He's not, I mean, he's a good guy for the night,
Yeah.
But he's still.
And they do that with a lot of guys, but they could really play it up. Like, so when you're in, like, I don't know, Atlanta, I'd be like, this city sucks. Chicago's 10 times Atlanta. It's just not that hard to do. It really isn't. It's crazy to me how bad some of it is. I used to dream of having a writing job for the WWE.
I would love that. Yeah, I did too. I would love that.
But then I heard the stories and I read the books about working with Vince.
And
I forget who it was, but I heard some guy do a radio interview saying, like, you have to pitch a year-long storyline to get the job. And he pitched a storyline that basically mirrored Batman: The Long Halloween. And I was like trying to figure out who the bad guy is. And they were like, nah, this won't work. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, you could come up with a whole year's full of stuff, and then I hate it.
I don't like it. Let's do fart jokes.
You're fired. All this
I'm
shit.
surprised anybody watches it all because I never hear any good about wrestling.
I mean, like I've been complaining to my friend Scott for years. He has been hearing this. We text all the time during the shows. He's the other host on my other podcast, but Talking Nerdy. But like, he's so tired of, like, he's like, every week I got to hear you. He said, what do you like about wrestling? And I'm like, you know what, dude? I don't even know. I have this false sense of hope every Monday at 8:00. And then by 8:15, I'm just like, shit, I'm screwed again. I fall asleep,
Yep. When was the last time you watched wrestling and had that, like, holy shit feeling? It's a long time.
I mean, NXT, when it was black and gold, I had that feeling every week, man. I was vested in. They would end the show, and I could not wait till the following week because I wanted to see what happens next.
Yeah.
1998.
Main roster, it had to be the Attitude Era for sure.
Well, they killed. I don't know I don't think anybody knows the whole story, but they actually solicited tickets for WCW after the sale. And then it just never happened. Like they were supposed to come to Philadelphia in May of that year after the sale was in March, because my buddy's like, all right, we're getting tickets. Here it is. And then it was canceled before they ever went up for sale. Like that killed me, because they could have, they should have taken the really good parts out of WCW. Like there was a lot of good things, and they've started to with like NXT. Like they took War Games. War Games should have never went away. Starrcade should have never went away. It should have been another almost like a level below WrestleMania. They should have kept Halloween Havoc in October. What the hell? That was the greatest pay-per-view name ever.
Yeah, like March or April should have been WrestleMania, and Starrcade should have been the winter show in December.
Yep.
And that would have been nice. But
and then there was just so many easy things. Like Survivor Series, the title lends itself perfectly to, okay, 4v4 is dead. So now Survivor Series is actually going to be Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, like back when remember the simulcast when Shane McMahon bought WCW? They had everything in the palm of their hand right there. Instead of going Raw SmackDown, what they should have done was not announce the buy and just have WCW and WWE as two separate companies on two separate days of the week, and just split the wrestlers up amongst those two and have two organizations.
They just didn't have the patience.
Raw SmackDown. I don't like that too much.
I mean, they did Raw and SmackDown pretty well for a little bit, where they had differentiation. It wasn't the same set. The referees dressed differently, different announcers. Now it's a joke.
Yeah. Well, now you have no champion on Raw. You got the U.S. champion as the big guy, which doesn't work because it's Austin Theory, and I don't think he's good. He's going to be something, but he's not quite there yet.
What exactly is his character? Nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't really have. Yeah, I mean, but I just see potential in him. I just don't know. I don't think it's time yet. And with the U.S. belt being the main belt on Raw, it's like it just doesn't. You got to split the belts back up from Roman, and I think they're going to end up doing that.
See, I like the belts being one person, but you need to be on both shows then.
Yeah, I think all like the tag team, the world champion, all of them should just go back and forth. I don't know if they're going to do it that way or they're going to split them back up, but I think Cody Rhodes is at least going to win that one belt from him and make the Eagle belt back, the Winged Eagle belt. I think that's what he wants to do.
Okay, that's there you go. That's the last time I was really interested in wrestling, was seeing what would happen with Cody Rhodes.
That was good when he came back. That was really good.
And I told everybody that it was a work. I was 100% convinced.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was a work. So when he showed up, I was pretty shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, there's no way both companies are being this forthcoming with us.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. But it's about an hour. We usually go about an hour. We're over that. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, not particularly. Everyone knows where to find me. Nerdzoic.com, YouTube, wherever. Come get your toys for me. If I don't have something you need, let me know. If there's a line that you want me to start carrying, I'll look into it or tell you why I can't.
Okay.
I want to thank everybody in chat that joined us this morning.
Yeah, we had a great.
I've seen a lot of new faces in there. Hope you guys return.
Yep. And just hang tight for a minute. We'll talk backstage afterwards if you don't mind, just a couple minutes. Yeah. And but we're gonna wrap that up. Everybody, thanks for joining this week. Thank you, Matt, for coming on. Join us next week. We're gonna have JB's Toy Trunk. He was in the chat today, and he's gonna be our guest next week. So join us for that back at our normal hour at 9 a.m. Eastern. And for now, that's what effing figures. We'll see you next week.